All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are 2 games away from the World Series.
I like you putting it that way.
You like that, right? I'll be honest, boys. I was going to say 3 games away from the World Series if we recorded before Game 4, just to say, hey, listen, there's a lot of negatives that could be going around, but we're thinking positive, we're thinking good, and you know why? Because it's clear eyes, blue mountains, Mets baseball can't lose, and that's why we're drinking our Coors Light. It is the beer that gets us through the pressure cooker, whether we're giving up football scores and getting shut out, 12-6 wins that we're sweating out every pitch, or whatever the hell is about to unfold in LA the next 2 games. That's right, I said 2 games. So we love our Coors Light. I drink my Coors Lights during every game, after every game, in the morning when I'm thinking about the game from the night before. And that's why you got to get your Coors Light, because fall feels good when you choose chill and then reach for a Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And the word I'm going to emphasize there, celebrate, Kevin, because that was a win.
Celebrate! Dude, that is what this team has done all year long, and I'm so happy they did it at least one more time for all the fucking doubters and naysayers. And I know there's been plenty of times this season I was one of those people as well. But if you're like, that was so long ago. If you're still doubting this team, then get the fuck out of here. That soundbite from Francisco Lindor when they said, it's been an uphill battle for you all year, and he straight up gave you a perfect Mets quote. You gotta believe, and if you don't believe, you don't deserve to be here. That alone, that one quote alone, I was thinking, even if the Dodgers fucking shit pump us again, that man deserves one more night of support and fandom, and go out there and give it to him. And not only did that happen, but they fucking delivered in the biggest way, winning what we were just discussing might be the most important game remaining. Tomorrow, or Game 6 is a bullpen game for them.
We have an eye going.
And we have our ace going. And then anything can happen Game 7. So this was the one you really needed to win. And I don't think a lot of people out there believed it was going to happen. And I also think some people believe that the Mets will win one more and get your hopes up. They won one more, and the Dodgers are starting to get nervous because a bullpen game, we saw that worked out last time, because you can have 8 great innings of bullpen game, but one fucking implosion and anything can happen. So this team did it once again, shook the lineup up. I think everybody in the world agreed that needed to happen. Mm-hmm. I think we got enough pitching when we needed it. We're the only team in the world that can sweat a 8-2 lead and a 12-5 lead, and
well, the problem is who we're playing against. We're playing against the Dodgers, who you do sweat it out. I mean, they were relentless. They just keep coming.
Every time we scored, they had to come right back.
Every time. And it doesn't matter if it's the superstars or the role players. Everyone's hitting home runs. Nobody chases pitches. We ain't in Milwaukee anymore. We ain't in Philadelphia anymore. This is the big fucking leagues. They are the scariest team I think maybe I've ever faced. And they still went out there and put up big numbers. So, they've done this 10 times this year when people have counted them out, and they just keep on coming back, and this one is the biggest one, no doubt.
What's the last time, serious question, what's the last time we faced a team in the playoffs as good as this roster? And I have to go back to maybe the Braves in 99, the Yankees in 2000.
Well, the Yankees in 2000 had a down year, but
they didn't even win 90 games.
Right, but they were 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2003. They made the World Series 7 out of fucking 9 years. So that team still had a lot of Hall of Famers and a lot of great players, even though they didn't have a great year. We never had a shot against them. But yeah, those Braves teams.
But there aren't many. If you go through my Mets life, which started in the late 80s, I can't think of many opponents that are better.
When the Mets are in the postseason, they usually win and play well.
They do.
And then even when we lost to the Royals, we beat ourselves. We kicked the ball around the field. This is just a juggernaut of a team.
This lineup is terrifying.
And they don't even have Glass now. They don't have Ohtani, who should be pitching for them. It's fucking sickening.
They don't have Gavin Stone. They don't have a ton of their guys.
The thought that in a normal year, Ohtani would have started game 1 as well as had a 2000 OPS. Yep. It's just fucking absolutely.
And you would have had Glass now going game 2.
Oh,
you've got to capitalize this year.
Yeah, that's really what that is the name of the game. And I will say this: I have not mentioned them much, but the Yankees on the other side of things makes this very difficult, because if the Mets were to get eliminated and the Yankees weren't in it, I think I would be hey. It was an awesome ride. Mm-hmm. And everyone has faith in Cohen and Stearns that they're going to keep building a winner. So I don't think we're going to face another 7-year drought like we did every other time we made the playoffs. So I think I would have been fine, happy. But the fact that we know the Yankees are going to the World Series, it's like we could have all of our fun and we do Grimace and we do OMG and we do the Temptations and we do the block party. And then it could all just fall apart and the Yankees in like 10 days could have a World Series. Scares the fucking shit out of me because the only thing that could deflate me right now, no matter what happens with this team, is the Yankees winning. So there's so much at stake. And goddamn, I'd love to get there, but if not, I need the Dodgers to be the fucking juggernaut to stop the worst possible thing from happening.
I mean, we're recording this on Thursday night right now, or Friday night. Guardians did score one at the bottom of the inning.
So it's 2-1.
Hey, okay.
2-1, yep.
Okay, because as soon as the Yankees put up 2 right away, I was like, all right, we know where this is going. But hey, as long as they keep coming back a little bit. But yeah, man, I mean, this team they're unbelievable. They don't chase. If the ball is not,
It's not the Phillies.
It's not the fucking Phillies. And as scared as I was of that lineup, this is a whole other level where it's just like, I think it goes both ways. If they don't swing, it's not a strike. But also I think when the umpires are like, if they didn't swing, it's a ball. You know what I mean?
They should be allowed to call their own pitches.
Yeah, that's basically what's happening. That's basically what's
happening.
happening because they're like, these guys are so good. You didn't swing? Okay, it's got to be a ball. It's unbelievable. And it's, of course, it's the, Ohtani and Betts and those guys, their numbers are sick, but it's the Muncys and now fucking Andy Page is out here hitting double home runs.
2 home runs as a rookie. He's 23. He had 9 total bases. I want to go back to your point earlier though. The future for the Mets, I say this with all sincerity, hasn't been this bright in many years. You have an owner, a manager, and a GM that are all competent and care. When is the last time the Mets could say that? I think the 80s.
With $178 million coming off the books.
Yes.
Still have at least a couple of your core guys intact.
Yes.
See what happens with some guys like Pete, but you still have Lindor, you have Nimmo, you have Diaz.
You have Alvarez, you have Vientos.
And I also just have confidence that we'll either bring back Minaya or Stearns will find the next version of Minaya and Severino and Quintana, because that's apparently what this guy can do. So it's not like the years gone by where it was like in 2015. That will haunt me forever, because not only were we there against the Royals and we were the better team and should have won.
Yep.
I just knew we weren't getting back.
Really?
We didn't.
I was confident then.
No,
not because of Wilpons, but because
like
these guys are young. This rotation's
Nope.
good. I had false hope.
Yes.
His thinking was power arms are great, but they get hurt, and
he was right. And he was absolutely right.
And Cespedes, we re-signed and it just didn't work, and it just, to me, I was like, nope. And
we knew Cespedes was going to be a motherfucker. We said, you can't give him that deal, but you
gotta
give him that deal.
He was so good in 16 too.
He was,
but you knew it was going to end in like LOL Mets fashion, where it's like he disappeared. We thought he got murdered by a cartel. People were saying.
I will say, I did not expect.
I still believe that, by the way.
The boar.
The boar.
I
still absolutely.
The boar.
It's a way more reasonable thought that the Cuban cartels, he still owes them from defecting, than he got chased by a wild boar and fell in a hole.
Yes.
I legit believe the cartel story more. And for real.
It's kind of hilarious when you think Harvey was the guy who threw him the first pitch tonight. And Harvey had, how many blogs of Barstool did you have about Harvey back?
My God.
25.
Yep.
Showed up to pick, couldn't piss, right? He had the piss thing.
Thoracic outlet.
Qualcomm.
Oh, well, that's what ruined him. That's what
showed up late because he was at One Oak till 6 in the morning.
But also threw more innings after Tommy John than anybody in the history of baseball, and probably ended his career trying to get us that ring. So as much as it ended sour in the end, I think also there's some, time heals all wounds. He threw like 150 innings after Tommy John, like basically ruining your chance for a big payday. So
I'm always going to love Matt Harvey. I'm always going to love Matt Harvey.
Yeah.
There will always be a feeling of what could have been with Harvey, DeGrom, Syndergaard, Matz, the whole gang.
Wheeler.
But whatever. Anyway, back to these guys.
Wait. Speaking of Wheeler, just someone tweeted something like this to me. He's like, back in 2015, it was like, sorry, dude, pay for your own tickets. Now it's like, hey, Francisco, we're gonna fly the Temptations out.
You like a song? We're gonna bring the fucking band in to sing for you.
Isn't it nice? That's our owner.
I know.
That's what we have
and
now.
You know what? Like a lot of that, some people still feel a little uneasy about that shit. They were comparing it to the Baja Men with Who Let the Dogs Out, and like these things that, if you're losing, they come across as chintzy and corny and gimmicky. But if you're winning, they're awesome.
And
because
that's
it
what
just
this
means the
season's
fan
been built
experience
off
is
of.
awesome.
Yeah.
This whole season built off these gimmicks, off the field stuff.
Right. All of this shit. And when you know that the owner put $10 billion into hotels and clubs and restaurants and getting rid of the chop shops so that the fan experience is awesome, and we do the fun things like the songs and the performances and all that shit, and you couple it with a great president of baseball operations, infrastructure, winning, stars, then
good
you can do all
manager.
that shit. Then you can do all the stuff you want because the play on the field matches the circus off the field. It's when you suck and you have a circus that you look like idiots. When you know you have you're in good hands for the future, then let's fucking do whatever you want, guys. We can have fireworks and fucking throw a circus, bring in the elephants.
Stuff,
I don't give a
I gotta
shit.
say too, the circuit stuff. Even I know I get. And your point is right. When you're losing, it's corny. All the stuff though is like it's like fun, positive. Like none of it's like shitty or being like.
Agreed.
It's all like good. Like Grimace is fun.
Yeah.
The rally pimp is fun. Like those
But
are
I'll say
good
this,
things. Like they're nothing. There's no negative. There's no one's being shit on.
Also, kids like that stuff. Too.
I know,
The
but
younger
I would
OMG's
like,
fun.
I would like to like consult and be like, when we got absolutely dismantled the game prior, and the dance crew is like dancing outside the stadium at the end of the game.
That's fair.
Just tell them you can take the rest of the night off. You know, stuff like that.
That's
where it's
fair.
like you don't need to be doing the Queen's dance crew, whatever it's called, when we just lost. Like in horrific fashion. There's been a murder, you know? So those sort of things we have to figure out. But just knowing that it's Cohen and Stearns and Mendoza and Lindor and the future is bright. We can do all the fun shit, and there's still plenty of baseball left this season. Who fucking knows what can happen now?
You also realize like they're not really pushing the playoff pumpkin. Like they'll acknowledge it.
Yeah.
We don't need to go crazy with that.
You could tell that was Pete's thing, and they were kind of like, yeah. Hey, we're gonna go do the OMG thing, bro. Like, we already got one of these. We don't need your fucking pumpkin, bro. Speaking of him, he did it again because we all were kind of having a conversation that, fortunately for us as a team, but unfortunately for him, there's been enough time since that Brewers home run of watching him swing at balls in the dirt and choke again and again and again. And then he missed a 3-run home run, gets the fucking monkey off our
on
back.
a pitch that was
on
like,
a pitch in the dirt, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, borderline in the dirt. Vladimir
dead
Guerrero
center.
style, 418 feet, dead center. 3-run home runs or, awful strikeouts. That's just what the man does. And he does just enough to keep pulling you back in so that you love the polar bear.
off a pitcher that just held him for 7 scoreless like a week
I
ago.
know.
Yeah, I think seeing him a second time really helps.
For sure.
That was the Flaherty I thought we were getting last week.
Yes, I thought that was going to
Or
be game
for-
one.
He's not
Yeah.
a household. He's a good pitcher. It's not like
He
we're
is.
He's
facing
not
Garrett
lights out.
Cole.
No,
Right.
he's not Bob Gibson. He's
Right.
but he is a good pitcher.
Right, but I
you know?
didn't think Jack Flaherty was going to be the problem, and he was a problem game
Yeah,
one.
he was.
And then it's crazy for us because we were living and dying with this game, no matter what the lead was. Whereas the Dodgers were quite literally punting because they're just preparing for, and I understand why. But when you're leaving out Honeywell out there for 50 pitches,
Now 67, and they didn't want to let him get the last out. Remember that?
Crazy to take
2
him
outs
out.
in the 8th. They're like, all right.
Taking him out is crazy. But they were, preparing for the next games, and I get why they're doing that. But you start to overlook your opponent a little bit. You start to worry, you start to think about a bullpen game versus Manaea, and you think about, I don't give a shit how you get to game 7. Once it's 7, all bets
Anything
are
goes.
off.
Yeah, anyone could be a hero.
So, I
Dave
mean,
Roberts, the more time Dave Roberts, the more rope you give him.
and this game was exactly the opposite of the prior game. It was just balls down the line that stayed fair, and guys got hits in big spots. We had productive outs instead of strikeouts. We got sack flies. We drove in runs. We manufactured runs. All of those things just didn't happen in game 3 or 4, whatever it was, and that's the difference. So it's not like the box score has been ugly, but every single game they got runners on and they're right there, and it's just a matter of whether you get the big hit, which they've done all year long, or they don't get the big hit, which they've done a couple times in this series. You flip a coin. Is it going to happen in game 6? Could it happen in game 7? That's baseball, Susan. One of these teams are going to get those breaks.
I feel like having the guys that make those hits, like Jesse Winker in the lineup.
Yes.
Yeah, it might make it a little bit.
helps.
I think it's safe to say we got our lineup now.
Yeah.
I maybe Iglesias gets back in
I
there
can see
in a
Iglesias
spot.
back.
Yeah,
That's the only one I'm kind of.
he's got some good
50-50
numbers.
on.
We know that he killed with running.
He still got a
position.
2 sack flies, though.
He
after
did.
I
falling
know.
out
A lot of
too.
good contact.
Productive outs.
He was very feast or famine. It felt like, but he still batted like 375 with runners in scoring position. Still had some great at bats in the playoffs. So maybe he goes back in there. But I think our boy JD's got to take a seat.
Yeah.
Winker's got to stay in there.
So the craziest thing, Phil brought this up to me during the game. He's like in the 6th
We
inning.
both looked at the box score just now. Double check.
In this, I want to make sure. 6th inning, he feels like the Mets haven't had a batter strike out yet. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Sure enough, we played the entire game. Not one batter for the Mets struck out. Like
No strikeouts tonight.
No
no
strikeouts.
And Jack
After,
Flaherty
what,
has
14 last
has
night?
a strikeout. Like his strikeout numbers are pretty good. I know he only pitched a couple innings, but That's crazy. In
Now-
2024 baseball, not to have a strikeout in a playoff game?
That is insane.
That's
Against a
insane.
team like the Dodgers.
And meanwhile, we walked 5 times.
I was going to say, now what's the other side of it? How many walks did we issue?
We issued 5,
Okay, so
That's
still not
that's a good
great,
number.
but the Dodgers struck out 11 times.
But when I saw that we had
wow.
30 walks given up, this series,
we had 9 yesterday,
30
right?
walks
Yeah.
is like insanity. They were like 16 for 53 with runners in scoring position. There's just too many men on base, but they limited that tonight and turned it around on them. No, I mean, and that's the difference. Not striking out. You're putting the ball in play. You're moving runners over. You're producing runs. That's how you win versus how you get shut out. I mean,
You talked
that's the
about
difference.
Jesse Winker. To his point, 3 runs scored. Now, he's faster than Pete. You know, he also had 2 hits. He had a walk. But those 3 runs, that matters. Like it's not station to station baseball.
Right,
We're,
you go
we're moving
first to
guys
third,
over.
you're
We're running.
scoring on
I know Acuna
triples.
probably should have scored late on that double play.
Yeah,
But all right. So there's a couple things we need to clean up a little bit.
Lindor getting picked off was wildly
great.
uncharacteristic.
Very uncharacteristic.
I don't know if we had any errors tonight.
Alonso, by the way, 4
Oh,
runs.
yeah, we had that. Yeah,
We had no errors. No errors in the field.
Yeah,
but
the
did we
McNeil,
s-
that wasn't an error.
Nothing's an error nowadays.
Yeah.
4 runs scored for Alonso, which is insane.
Crazy.
He was hustling.
He was motoring, man. He was motoring.
We got to shout out Marte, 4 for
Oh,
5 with 3
professional
RBIs.
hitter. The professional hitter, Starling Marte.
Batting .310 this postseason, Starling Marte.
Unreal, man.
For a guy that a lot of people, including myself, was ready to kind of stick a fork in, a few months ago, like, all right, this guy's just cooked. Like,
Yep.
we got this guy,
I mean,
$20 million in the
He
hook
still
next
hasn't
year.
hit a home run since June 12th.
June
but,
12th.
Hey, I don't give a shit if you can go 4 for 4.
Yeah.
He's hitting
You
those
can be a
singles and
contact
doubles.
hitter. Yeah.
3 doubles today.
Right. You can do
That's
that all
6
night long.
And go back
7
to the
total
first
bases.
inning where he dropped that ball. You're like,
Oh,
here
yeah.
we go
Yes,
again.
yes.
The biggest inning of the game. Second and third, nobody out. Ground ball to Lindor. The line drive right to Pete. The
Yep.
strikeout to get out of it. Like,
Huge. And that, again, like that was us the previous game. And it just flipped where they couldn't get the runs across, and we did. So, I mean, they still got 6 across, but I mean, in those big spots.
With that lineup, that almost feels like that feels
I know.
Like,
I mean,
I know. It's crazy.
scary
we
because
held
it's
them
like,
to 3 in game 2, which makes no
unless-
sense.
Insane.
Unless Minaya just drops his nuts, which might happen, it feels like you have to score 8 every game.
There's no pitcher I believe in more than Minaya.
I know.
So-
He's the guy you want. And if it goes, if you go down with the ship like that, like, so be it. But
The Mets need to pitch 18 more innings to win the series. These are the pitchers I think you trust. Like I'm just naming them all. Minaya Severino, Stanek Diaz. I guess
I
Reed
like
Garrett.
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 Yeah.
So you have like
Garrett.
5 pitchers in the circle of trust.
And the
18
rest are
to cover 18
the rest are
innings.
So we
complete
need
crapshoots.
18 innings from 5
5
guys,
guys.
and that means the 2 starters got to go as long as they possibly
Yep.
can. Because Stanek went 2 1/3. Diaz went 2.
Stanek will probably not be available for Sunday.
No.
He threw 31 pitches.
Hey, man.
2 1/3.
He's
gonna be
a
available.
modern day pirate. He might go out there and be like, give me the fucking
He's
ball.
also the only guy other than Diaz that has the velocity to like just
So
blow
that's the
by
one
them.
thing I really do think we miss, and that's the one thing I wish we had. I mean, obviously this goes without saying, but I wish we had a guy like DeGrom. I wish we had like fireball pitchers, because a lot of this nibbling shit and junk, and except for Minaya with his arm slot, which is a whole different ballgame,
Yeah.
the rest of this breaking ball and like, I'm just going to try to get you to chase, and they don't chase, and then when you throw it over the plate, it's like 92 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Whereas, when Stanek can go in there and Diaz can go in there and dial it up, you can strike some of these guys out. And in the past, we had guys who could go 6 or 7 innings, and Matt Harvey would fucking throw it down your throat, and DeGrom could gas you. And we're lacking that right now, and that hurts a lot in this series. But the one guy who I think can do that is Minaya. So, and then you get to 7 and anything can happen.
We need Minaya to throw. So the other thing is Reed Garrett threw 31 pitches today. And I know, you're like, all right.
Fucking Clemmer's a humanitarian who's just worried about everyone's arm health.
I'm very-
It's the playoffs.
So
Everybody go out there and die. if
So
you have
we
to.
say that, but think about Diaz in the Milwaukee series when he was cooked. These guys
know.
get cooked.
I know.
And
I
we're
agree.
in a situation where we cannot lose a game.
Yeah.
These guys, and we said we have 5 guys we can trust.
Yes.
These guys, we have to keep them in pretty good shape,
agree.
or
I
else
know.
we're
I know.
we're fucked.
Yeah.
I would also say it's not a guy I trust, but I feel like there's one guy that might have to be used, and I think it's 7-run Senga, who we didn't use tonight.
I think you're right.
I
If
think
you
it's
can
gonna
get
be
if
the
you can get
moment.
2 or 3 innings out of him
do you-
somewhere.
Do you think? Would you try to
No.
start him at a point?
No.
No.
Zero chance.
You can't put him starting.
But you got to
over
put him in
Minaya
a
and
clean
Senga.
inning
I know.
situation. So
This is the
Clean innings.
so
no
so
one
like
on
you're gonna
base.
pick a spot where it's like we
Bottom of the
might
order.
be shooting ourselves in the foot, but we might be rolling the dice to bridge a 2-inning gap to get to, and it's like.
If
that's
they were
baseball.
up
Like,
8
that's-
runs in like the 8th
Well, listen,
inning.
I
they
am
would've
not
went to
foreseeing
Senga.
any scenario where that
No, I'm
happens
talking about
again,
game
but
5.
Yeah.
Like the
No,
game we
tonight.
played,
But
yeah.
I will say, so I was shitting blood during the stream because I was so nervous about Diaz going out and pitching the ninth. I was scared. And he only did throw 23 pitches in 2 innings, but
Easy.
23 pitches, he would
And
be
those
very
were
available
light
for
work.
Thursday.
Like,
That worked out really
usually
well.
Diaz is lumbering and laboring.
Well,
and,
he's rested. He's in great
right.
shape, you know.
But also, it's
great,
like he'll start outings where it's like he's missing his zone, trying to find a slider. It's
He
like,
was
This
locked
is
on.
and then they have to tell him, like, dude, throw your fucking fastball.
Yeah, remind you that you throw 101. Yeah.
Well, you said it in the stream. You're like, I want to see 2022 Diaz, and guess what we saw today?
Yeah, that was it.
So that
That was
was
it. And
nice.
it makes
One last
all the
note about
difference
this
in the
box
world.
score. This is the first time in Mets playoff history 2 triples the same game.
Wow.
I mean, Mookie Betts was kind of dogging in right field.
I
Like,
know. That was great. I mean, they really were just like punting that game. And I hope that comes back to bite them in the ass because Mookie Betts was legit jogging out there. And they left Honeywell in there as a human sacrifice. And if it goes 7 and bad shit happens, I think they'll point to that game and be like, we gave up on that shit.
Clemmer, that was Clemmer's stats. So here's my number of the day. My number of the day is brought to you by DraftKings. After 162 games, it's finally time for some October baseball. Get in on all the playoff action at DraftKings Sports, from same-game parlays to live betting to odds boosts and so much more. DraftKings has you covered until a champ is crowned. So, let's see. Lines available for the upcoming games. I don't even know if they even have the they have the Mets game. Let's go see what the Mets game is going to be for Sunday right now. What did you say it was, Clemmer?
It's going to be a Minaya versus a bullpen game.
It's going to be a Minaya versus Vulcan game. Mets are currently plus 120. Dodgers are minus 142 right now.
Ooh, I think that's a little disrespectful to
I
our
think
Mets.
so, too.
Very interesting.
I think that's some good value
And
right
disrespectful
there.
to our guy Sean Minaya, who I
Yeah.
love.
Who,
So-
he could emerge as a postseason hero. I think he already kind of has. But
Yeah.
you do another one
Oh my
against
God.
the Dodgers in this
In a
spot,
game 6?
and people will go, "Wow, why were they the underdogs?" Well,
And I got to give.
And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BELIEVE. That's code BELIEVE for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. And my number of the day, folks.
Ooh.
I tweeted it out for the game. I bet the Mets World Series plus 2,200.
wow.
All right.
The New York Mets, as of right now, as of this recording, are plus 950. The second most likely team to win the World Series.
No way.
What?
The Dodgers. The Dodgers are plus 100.
What are the Yankees?
No, it's a third.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
1300.
okay.
I read
I was
that
gonna say
completely
that-
wrong.
that-
Third
yeah.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
But the Guardians are 1,500. We're 950.
We're the second most likely team in the National League to win the World Series.
We're the third most likely team ahead of the Guardians, who are down 2-1.
I will throw you a number. 3 hits for Francisco Alvarez, who I think
Ooh.
that is a
Game
1,000
changer.
pounds off his shoulders. And if he can do that again, that changes everything because you can get some guys on in front of Lindor. The bottom of the order is not just a complete cakewalk like it has been. That is our dude. He's 22, I think, still.
Yep.
He's going to be here for probably 15 years. We will hopefully have a lot of postseason runs with him where we look back and we're like, man, remember how much you were gutting it out and struggling in 2024, but you worked through it. So we're going to have a lot more with him. So I have a huge leash with him because I just know he's our guy for a long time. So it's hard to get on him, but he's been very bad, lost at the plate. And then I kept, you just keep saying it's got to happen eventually. Law of averages. And it finally happened. 3 for 4, huge hits, huge.
Great swings.
Just
It wasn't like
Oh,
It wasn't cheap.
totally
these weren't like
yes.
goofy hits.
No,
like,
even when he wasn't, like, he hit the ball
Good foul
hard
balls.
every
They were
time.
Alvarez hits. Those
Yeah.
were the
Yes.
hits.
The El Troll, man, he can get a hold of them. So if he can get hot, and Marte stays hot, and Pete can do what he does, and Lindor stays doing what he does, anything's possible.
I'm a nerd for this stuff, but Alvarez actually had a postseason appearance in 2022. I love that he had just won a bat, but I love that because I'm hoping in my mind, my dreams, the Mets have these we have these great teams we're building off of. Imagine how cool his postseason stats could look.
Yeah.
This is already his second postseason. He's
Right,
a catcher
he's
at 22.
22.
You know how rare that is?
like you might have a guy who's got hundreds of postseason games under his belt, like some of these all-time
I know.
greats.
That's, like Alvarez, I'm serious when I say dead serious. He's going to make multiple All-Stars games before his career is done. He's a 22-year-old catcher. I cannot emphasize how rare that is.
And he works hard. It sounds like the pitchers love him.
Yes.
He knows he's always worried about the pitch clock, and he knows when to slow the game down, and he just has all of that. So if it wasn't for Francisco Lindor, I would be I think we would be like an eventual captain of this team. That's how much I believe in him.
Same boat.
And
I really love Alvarez.
And maybe this is also the beginning where it's like, hey, you started to come out of it, and at the right exact time. There's not much left to say, man.
I just want I know this might be I say this is loser talk, whatever. I don't know, man. The Mets are 2 games away from the World Series, like you said, Clem. We're playing Game 6 against the Dodgers. I'm fucking like proud of this team.
Yes.
Like, that's my team.
Yes.
I'm a Mets
Yes.
fan,
Like-
and there's been no better time in my memory than right now to be a Mets fan.
Yeah,
in my
agreed.
memory,
Yeah.
I don't remember 86. I remember 88. But okay, so
So there's been
06 felt like it was going to be it, and then
Yes,
it was
it
not.
did.
It was not.
No.
I mean,
this is kind of the opposite, where it's like we didn't think it was gonna be, and then they just keep showing us that it is.
Win or lose, I think we can all say the Dodgers are a better team than us. But you only have to be better than them 4 out of 7 games.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
We only gotta be better
And
than
you
2 more games.
And right now, all you got to do is be better for 2 more games, and that's.
And I think we're
possible.
capable of that. Like,
Yeah.
are the Dodgers better than us? Yes, they
Yeah.
are. They have a better roster than us. But can we beat them in the next 2 games? I think we could.
Especially with
Absolutely.
some of the matchups and some of the shit that's been
All it
going
takes
on.
is a couple
We have
balls
a
knocked
good
away.
team.
And listen, there's been a lot of zeros. There's a couple shutouts. We've also hung a lot on them as well. We've had big innings. We've hit home runs.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of runners in scoring position. It's not like we're going out there and getting 2 hits a game and striking out 20 times. We are right there offensively. It's just a matter of getting the big hits, and then it's a matter of if you can cobble together those final 12 outs of every game.
As crazy as it is, getting blown out in Game 4 gave them a
Was
better
the-
chance to win Game 5.
Agreed.
Because you had
Yes.
you didn't burn any of your top
You-
guys.
Tyler McGill throwing 80 pitches
Danny-
might be one of the
and Danny
most
Young.
one of
And
the
Danny
most
Young.
important things that happened in this series.
That happened with the Red Sox. Tim Wakefield in the 04 against the Yankees. He basically talked his way out of a start. He told Frank Cohen, look, I know we're getting our asses. It was 19-8, Game 3.
Yep.
I know we're getting our ass kicked. I'm going
I'll
to
eat
go.
it.
I'll wear it. And then that way we will start fresh tomorrow. He gave himself up, and that's why they won.
Yep.
Like, you need guys like McGill and Danny Young who are going to make that sacrifice for you.
Yep.
They did. I know we look at the Dodgers because that's the other team. We're like, oh, fuck, look at this route. Like, look at this. Look at our lineup. Find me
I
an
know.
easy out.
I know.
You can maybe say Tyrone Taylor. I don't know if he's an easy out. Other
Right.
than that, if Alvarez is hitting, there's no easy out 1 through 9. Find me
Agreed.
one.
Agreed.
You can't.
Agreed, man. That's why you got to believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
OMG.
Go!
Let's go Mets!
Oh.
Woo!
Well, Mr. Pat.